Afternoon everyone, it's Dami Adewale for YourHarlow. I'm sure you've all heard about the announcement of the European Super League, so I'm just here to give you a few of my thoughts about the situation. I'm just going off Spurs' Twitter page here, and it says, in an announcement they've said, leading European football clubs announce new Super League competition. I think it's really ironic that they've used leading European super clubs considering, and I'm just going to keep it in terms of the Premier League here, Arsenal haven't won a Champions League, Spurs haven't won a Champions League, and neither have Man City. So three of these clubs don't really qualify for the leading European football status if we're just going off history and heritage and tradition in these European clubs. They do qualify a lot, but they haven't won it. So the whole situation just reeks of entitlement and reeks of privilege and reeks of ring fencing and just leaving out the other clubs in the Premier League who actually may be more deserving of being in a Super League, even though I'm against it. I'll just use the example of Leicester City. So Leicester City got promoted in 2014, and since then they've just been on an upward trajectory. They've had the great escape with Esteban Cambiasso in their first season, then they had their league winning season, and since then, through smart recruitment and investment, they've just bettered their team. They've bought players like Wilfried Ndidi, Yuri Tielemans, just to become one of the better teams in the Premier League. And if you couple that with the downwards trajectory of a club like Arsenal, for example, since the invincible season of 03-04, Arsenal have just declined. They've gone from a title-winning side to one that qualifies for the Champions League, to one that just qualifies for the Europa League, and now in the last two seasons, they finished out of even the Europa League places. And if it wasn't for Arteta winning the FA Cup last year, it would have been the whole situation at the club would look like a catastrophe. In fact, it does look like a catastrophe right now. It's all elitism, really. I mean, let's just talk about the concept of the 12 biggest clubs being in this competition. Biggest doesn't necessarily mean best. I mean, if you look at the Premier League alone, Arsenal are 9th, Spurs are 7th, I think Chelsea are 5th. So even in their own leagues, they're not actually the best clubs. When they say biggest European clubs, it's all about branding, it's all about commercialization. And you know it's kind of a sticky situation when the Premier League are actually taking the moral high ground, because they did something similar with the formation of the Premier League in the 1992-93 season. And if you just go back to that season, let's just look at who the biggest clubs would have been if biggest was on merit. It would have been Man United, Aston Villa, Norwich, Blackburn, QPR, Liverpool. So if you look at it from that point of view, the biggest clubs are, if it was a meritocracy, a true meritocracy, the biggest clubs are always changing. And at least the Premier League has some incentive. Like, you can get relegated. There is the Champions League to qualify for, the Europa League. Whereas this league, let's say Arsenal next year, I keep using the example of Arsenal, clearly I'm an Arsenal fan. Let's say Arsenal next year are in 9th place again. They have nothing to play for because they know they'll just automatically be in this European Super League and they'll never get relegated from it. So it just removes all aspects of competition, and I'm just not all for it at all. Once again, I do want to clarify that I am unequivocally against the forming of the European Super League. These are my opinions. They are not the opinions of YourHarlow. And I just want to thank you all for listening to me today, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.